East Copperbelt Province brings to you The Lens, a program designed to bring insightful information on economics, mining, education, health, tourism, agriculture, environmental issues, sports, entertainment, current affairs, and many issues affecting the well-being of society.
Welcome, viewers, and today on The Lens, we'll be looking at the budget speech which was presented to Parliament on Friday last week by Finance Minister Stumbeko Musokotwane, and I'm your host, Tovini Ngombe. As you may be aware, Finance Minister Stumbeko Musokotwane last week presented a 217.1 billion budget for the 2025, and he apportioned 48.7 billion for economic stimulation, and that the 2025 budget is premised on economic recovery and promoting economic growth. The proposed budget is an increase of the 177.7 billion presented last year in 2023 for the 2024 budget. Out of the 217.1 billion, 147.4 will be financed through domestic revenues, and 8.2 billion will be through cooperating partners, and 34.7 will be financed through borrowing, and 19.4 billion will come from external sources. And the theme for the 2025 budget is building resilience for inclusive growth and improved livelihoods. And to analyze the budget speech that was presented by the Finance Minister, I have with me in the studio Mr. Chimba Chimba, who is a lecturer at the National Institute of Public Administration called NIPA, and he is the lecturer for business studies. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you, Tovin.
And I also have Mr. Joseph Mleya, who is also from the National Institute of Public Administration, NIPA. He's also a lecturer under business studies. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you, Tovin.
All right, maybe to just begin to ensure that maybe everyone is on the same level with us. What is a budget? Anyone can answer it, Mr. Chimba or Mr. Mleya. What's a budget?
Well, a budget is an estimate of government revenue and expenditure for a given fiscal year. So government budget is basically meant to improve resource allocation to various sectors of the economy. The main objective is to ensure that all sectors of the economy have an equal share of the national cake. So basically, to improve on service delivery, governments prepare their budgets so that they can reach out to the people within the economy.
All right, Mr. Chimba, how do you look at the budget which was presented to the Parliament, and does it respond to the issues affecting most Zambians?
Yes, looking at the way it has been couched, it's looking at economic recovery and improved growth. So from that angle, the government is leveraging on mining as well as agriculture. In mining, the government has unlocked the two big mining investments vis-a-vis Mopani Copper Mines and KCM, which were mired in legal battles. Then secondly, the government has also staked to improve the investment climate in the mining sector. And apart from that, the government within the budget is saying that they are going to improve, they are going to embark on a very ambitious mineral survey using the aerial method. And this will ensure that all the areas are covered and they identify the strategic areas where these mines can be exploited. The fourth part is that government is formalizing the gold subsector. What they've done and what they are going to do is to set up what are being called gold trading centers. And this is where the gemstone or the precious stone is going to be traded. And particularly they've identified Mumbwa, they've identified Rufunza and another area where this pilot project will take root.
All right, and also as you're talking about it, the budget is premised on economic recovery and ensuring that we come out of the economic challenges that were faced last year, but using the mines and also agriculture. Is this attainable, Mr. Mleya?
Yes, it is. Looking at the sector allocations that have been put to the two sectors, you realize that the economy relies heavily on mining and agriculture. So with the pronouncements in the budget for the two sectors, what we'll see is growth in mining. We also see growth in agriculture because there's intensive support for the Farmer Input Support Program, and then there's also other sector allocations to boost the agricultural sector and also the mining sector.
All right, Mr. Chimba, also maybe this comes to the question of maybe stimulating economic growth. We have seen also that the manufacturing sector was severely affected because of the drought which we experienced, and also because of the electricity, because people could not manufacture enough because of that. And now the government have also planned to work on these economic multi-facility zones, and some of them, we have one here in Ndola, we have in Lusaka, and we have, I think, in Sorezi, and also in Central Province. Are these enough to stimulate the growth in the manufacturing sector?
Yes, indeed, just as you've mentioned, Lusaka South multi-facility economic zones has about 30 companies that are operating, and 21 more are coming on stream. And you can see the enthusiasm, because within these multi-facility economic zones, there are certain incentives that are offered. And facilities are there, infrastructure to support operations, infrastructure to support production is there. There is also one which is coming up in Chiwombo. In Chiwombo, which is just from Lusaka as you are getting into Kawe, that multi-facility economic zone is also coming up, and it's expected that over $40 billion will be invested in that economic zone. And mostly they are Chinese firms that are coming up. And one of them is coming to Chiwombo economic zone to embark on what is known as, to offer solar solutions. And you know we are affected by this drought. This will stimulate growth. This will promote growth in the manufacturing sector. Apart from that, government has taken steps to try and forestall the load shedding. There is significant amount of power which is coming on stream in the national grid through imports. Then ZESCO and the private sector working together to set up certain, they've identified strategic areas where they are going to set up solar-powered sources to support, to increase power generation. Then there's also an increase which is expected from Mamba to 600 megawatts, which will come on stream. And if you see that, there will be some kind of stabilization in the supply of power. And so we expect that there will be some rebound in the manufacturing sector. But government should move further and ensure that there is fuel prices stability, so that the players in the manufacturing sector are able to hedge against risks of price fluctuation and thereby incurring losses.
All right, maybe just on the manufacturing sector again, this draws me back to on the in the Central Province. We have the China Murungushi Textile, which was just revamped, and the Chinese investor working with the Zambian government, in partnership with the government, they have planned to pump in a lot of money to ensure that the textile industry is improved. Is that part of the economic stimulation the minister was talking about in the budget, Mr. Mle?
Yes, so what it is that the investment from the Mlungushi textiles is going to have a profound or profound effects in the economy, in the sense that it's going to create jobs within the area of jurisdiction. So what we'll see is that there will be growth in employment creation in Central Province, not only Central Province, even in other provinces, because people can travel all over to go and look for employment from that side. Apart from that, it will also contribute to the gross domestic product of the economy. So what we will see is that there will be growth in the GDP because of the opening and also the revamping of the Mlungushi textiles. So basically that will be the impact in the economy.
Just there on the growth domestic product, in the budget speech, it has been projected that the growth rate of the GDP will be at 6.6. Is this attainable?
Yes, it is, based on the fact that the sector allocations which have been pronounced so far are good enough to support the attainment of this, the GDP growth rate, which is projected in the 2025 fiscal year. For example, mining, a lot has been said already by my colleague. We've seen growth in the mining sector. KCM is coming on board, and also Rwansha Copper Mine is also coming on board. So with enough investment in the mining sector, what we'll see is that there will be growth in the gross domestic product. Aside from that, another driver that is going to help us attain the GDP growth rate that is projected in the budget is the tourism sector. The sector allocation that has been put to the tourism sector is also good enough for us to go and also attain the GDP growth rate. Let's also focus on maybe healthcare provision, and expenditure in education. All these are there to support the attainment of the GDP growth rate, which is projected in the 2025.
All right, maybe Mr. Chimba, also let's come to agriculture sector, which was severely affected from 2023 and 2024 farming season, and we have seen an allocation of 15.4 billion towards the support, towards supporting the agriculture sector. And we have seen 9.3 billion, which will go direct to the farmer input support program to help those who are unable to buy the inputs on their own. Is this enough to stimulate the agriculture, which was harshly affected by the drought?
Yes, to a large extent, yes, because what government has done within this budget is that they are anchoring agriculture growth on what is being called Comprehensive Agriculture Transformation Support Program. Now, in this support program, government is emphasizing on irrigation, agro-processing, infrastructure development, and export support. And additionally, I think there must be a component on market access. And if this is well handled and well harnessed, and implementation is replete with people that will have a mindset of development, this is going to bring about, it's going to generate benefits to the economy. You know, agriculture should be the fulcrum. Agriculture should be the springboard and should be the anchor for development other than mining, because it is the largest employer on one hand, then it guarantees food security on the other. Apart from that, agriculture will provide revenue earnings from exports if market access is guaranteed. But more importantly, within this support program, I think government should handle properly the aspect of irrigation, because if we depend on rain-fed agriculture, we are bound to be affected by climate change events, which was the case in the previous marketing season. Look at the growth rate. 2023, it was 5.4 GDP growth. Then it plummeted to 2.3, 2024. Now, 6.6 GDP growth is not too much an ambition, but I think it's attainable. What is important at this stage is to try and ensure that we have the right mindset in the implementation process and seal all the loopholes that were evident in the past in the farmer input support program, whereby certain inputs were not reaching the beneficiaries, and after the produce, the farmers were stuck, did not have market access.
All right, and also still on agriculture again, we have seen the support to the farmer input support program, which is going to benefit about 1 million farmers in 2025. And we have also seen that government has also allocated funds to what is being called Zambia Credit Guarantee Scheme, and an amount of 851.7 million has been allocated in 2025. And this amount is supposed to be for anyone who wants to engage into farming to access it through maybe the bank, which will be offering that services in partnership with the government. And is this going to contribute to agriculture production? And is it, are Zambians going to benefit from this, or it just be selected individuals?
Thank
Mr.
you, Tobin. The answer is yes. Yes, in the sense that, first of all, it's going to create access to farm machinery for all the small and medium scale farmers. The diversifying farmers need access to capital. One of the challenges that inhibit farmers from diversifying is lack of enough capital to invest in the agricultural sector. So with that coming on board, what we'll say is that there will be access to finance, and this will enable most of our small and medium scale farmers to diversify and also to contribute to the national food security. That aside, we also view it from the point of view of its contribution to the GDP. So what we'll see is that there will be increase in food production, which will guarantee food security in the economy. And this will also add back to the gross domestic product. So basically, with that pronouncement, what we'll say is growth in the agricultural sector. Now, is it going to benefit each and every farmer? Yes or no? Yes, in the sense that if and only if proper monitoring and evaluation techniques are being applied, shall we going to attain this? But if it's just left like that, what we'll say is most of our small-scale farmers will not access this, much as it's been pronounced like that on paper. But there's more which needs to be done in order to ensure that everyone has access to these facilities.
All right. Well, viewers, if you are just joining us, you are watching The Lens, and on today's program, we are analyzing the budget speech that was presented to the Parliament last week on Friday by the Finance Minister, Stombeko Msokotwane. And on my panel today, I have Mr. Chimba and Mr. Joseph Muleya to analyze the budget. Let's move on also to the health sector for this for 2025 budget. And government has planned to employ about 2,000 health workers. Is this enough to support the health system? Mr. Chip.
Yes, looking at the levels of envisaged workers to be employed. I think we can do more, but it's a good start in that we need to improve the health sector staffing levels, first of all. Then secondly, there is an imperative need to improve infrastructure in all these health facilities and perhaps build more health facilities and provide them with modern facilities, modern equipment in these hospitals. Mind you, an increase in spending in the social sector is important because it also contributes to the GDP, and also when income levels and there's more income, it also increases spending, which also in turn contributes to investment.
All right. Also, we get back maybe to CDF for 2025 CDF, which has been increased, and this time now per constituent they'll be getting about 36.1 million kwacha, as compared to last year, which was about 30.6 million kwacha, and now it is 36.6 million kwacha. Is this enough to help the constituents to develop, Mr. Mle?
Well, it is, Tobin, in the sense that we are actually graduating from the less amount to a much, much bigger amount. So looking at the sector allocation for the Constituency Development Fund, this is good enough to finance all the projects within the respective constituencies in our country. CDF has got components. There's youth and women empowerment. There's also bursaries and skills training. There's also community development sector. So with that 36.1, what we see is growth in various activities, investment in various community activities, which are meant to promote development in the various constituencies of the economy. Apart from that, it's also going to promote entrepreneurship. It will promote business and skills training, and also enhance or improve the literacy levels within the communities of the various constituencies. So basically, that is where we can view it from that point of view.
I don't know whether I can add.
Yes.
Yes, there's CDF Act, which is in force, and this is aimed at improving administration of the CDF. But I think there's a need to do more in monitoring and tracking progress and how these funds are being distributed, how these funds are being expended on these projects. Even with the CDF Act, there are still some gray areas which need improvement. The implementation should be monitored to the core. There should be a tracking system that will be able to show that indeed the funds that have been increased, the funds that have been devolved from the central government to local level, the funds are reaching the intended targets, and it is working to benefit the communities, to benefit the country at large. Tracking, implement, monitoring is critically important so that there's no wastage, there's no leakage.
All right. Maybe we can move on to also the education sector. And out of this money, some of it will be used for construction of secondary schools and completion of the stored infrastructure, and also completion of building of the stored hostels projects at the UNZA, University of Zambia, Copperbelt, and other public institutions. Is this going to improve the education system, especially also improve the bed space for university students in this public institution? Mr. Mle.
Okay, to start with, the policy direction is to reduce the teacher-pupil ratio within the economy. So first of all, the 2,000 teachers which have been budgeted for to beef up the staffing in the education sector. Okay, quite all right. It's good enough, but I feel we can still do more so as to reduce the teacher PPU ratio. Because how many secondary schools do we have in the country? How many primary schools do we have in the country? Against the staffing levels within those secondary and primary schools. So a bigger number could have made more effort. Of course, 2,000 is okay because it comes with the budget, but that can also be improved on. Then apart from that, the introduction of the new curriculum. So we've seen some sector allocation to the new curriculum, which is meant to enhance skills training and also to promote entrepreneurship. So once this is done, it's going to help the economy move forward. Because with entrepreneurship skills, we are going to see a growth in investment, growth in production and manufacturing. Because people now will be on their own. They will now think of other ways of living other than depending on a white-collar job. So basically that is another angle on which we can just look at it from. Then the 120 secondary schools being constructed is a welcome move. Because looking at the number of schools within the communities in the country, we find that they are not enough to accommodate all the school-going children. So the 120 is good. And then also funding to the school feeding program, which is equally a good move. So those measures are good enough and welcome to support the education sector. Because an educated nation is a health nation, and it's a wealth nation. So more investment in education will entail more wealth and more health in the economy. I submit.
All right, and maybe we have seen the current, have been an improvement from one teacher to about 74 pupils, and now to one teacher to about 50 pupils. And now government is employing 2,000 teachers. Mr. Chimba, is this going to reduce that gap? Because we should have been thinking of maybe one teacher to 20 pupils or 30 pupils, but now it's still 50. Is the amount allocated to recruit 2,000 teachers? Is it enough to bridge this gap?
Certainly, it's not. We need more teachers and not 2,000. But I think it is being done in a gradual manner. Funds allowing, they should be employing more, because there are certain countries that are thriving on knowledge economy, what is known as knowledge economy, and if you look at the government policy on education, you see that there's a gradual shifting. There's a gradual shift from merely theories to practical approach in education, so that people could have a trade, people could have something to practice, even if they're not in the formal sector. But it is important that we have more teachers in the education sector. Then again, there's an important aspect. The grants that are coming into these schools, the grants should be used to improve the school environment and reduce on administrative costs, so that the money is directly going into improving education rather than holding workshops and costly administrative expenditure.
All right, we are just remaining maybe with a few minutes, maybe in the few minutes remaining, and as we are discussing the budget, whose theme is building resilience for inclusive growth and improved livelihoods. Maybe your last words of what is in the budget, Mr. Mle.
Okay, thank you, Tobin. The central point, from my own point of view, is linking the government service bus to Zambia Revenue Authority in order to enhance revenue collection. Because we saw that part of the budget is financed through domestic resource mobilization. So by linking the GSB to ZRI, what we'll see is increased resource mobilization, which will enhance the budget, financing the overall budget that has been proposed for the year 2025. Apart from that, there's also a pronounced enhanced data analytics, which is there. There's much investment in ICT infrastructure in order to improve the provision of service to the general public. So aside from that, all these sector allocations which have been proposed are meant to ensure that service delivery is enhanced to the people. So what we need now is proper implementation, monitoring and evaluation to ensure that these pronouncements, much as they may sound good, also need to be well monitored so that the people can benefit who are the end beneficiaries. So those are my words.
All right, Mr. Chimba, your last words as well.
Yes, my last words is that, yes, we recognize the fact that the resource envelope may not be sufficient because of so many competing demands. But my take is that we need to upscale the construction sector. I know already there is the Lusaka-Ndola dual carriageway, which is being undertaken on a public-private partnership basis. There is also Ndola, Mufulira, Sakania stretch, as well as the Mufulira, Mukambo, and there's one in Northwestern. But we need to replicate this model to more parts of the country so that the entire country is interconnected and there's improvement in infrastructure, transport, and communication. The rate at which we are moving right now is not so encouraging. We need to replicate construction throughout the country. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, viewers, we have come to the end of our program. We have been discussing the budget analysis or analyzing the budget which was presented to Parliament by the Finance Ministers Tumbeko Musokotwane. And on my panel, I had Mr. Chimba and also Mr. Joseph Muleya. Thank you so much for appearing on the program.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
All right, and I have been your host, Tovini Ngombe, and see you next time on your program, The Lens, coming from here, the Copper Belt in Ndola Studios. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.